Joining me now is Elisha Wiesel, the chairman of the Elie Wiesel Foundation, which is named in honor of his father, the noted writer and professor who was a survivor of the Holocaust. He devoted his life to fighting anti-Semitism and making sure that the world would never forget about the 6 million Jews who perished in the Holocaust. Elisha, thank you so much for joining us. This is our first time speaking, and I'm not sure how much you have spoken about what has transpired in Israel over the last few days. It has been almost a week. What are you feeling right now as you see these stories of horror coming out of Israel?
I'm feeling absolutely sick. What we've seen occur at the hands of Hamas, a terrorist organization, is nothing other than pure evil. And I remember shortly after 9/11, my father and I talking, and him commenting on how can people possibly be celebrating in Gaza City, in the West Bank? How could they be celebrating after these planes went and so many American lives were lost? And now somehow I feel like we are sick here in America, because after we have seen pure barbarism take place, here in the United States, we have actually seen people blame the victim and say, this is Israel's fault. And that is sick when you think about what we've seen from student groups, whether at Harvard, whether at other colleges around the country, when you think about administrations twisting themselves backwards to not say this was terror. With moral clarity, this was pure evil. Nothing deserves this. And we have the problem with our elected officials as well. So what happened over in Israel is absolute sickness, but we have our own sickness to contend with in this country.
What do you think your father would say about all of that, about what you described, what seems to be a blindness to what I think you're saying is creeping anti-Semitism here in the United States?
Oh, unfortunately, it's not creeping. This anti-Semitism has been here for a long time, unfortunately. You know, anti-Semitism is one of these things that manifests, unfortunately, both on the right and the left. You think of the Charlottesville episode that President Biden has, often said inspired him to run for president. But you think of the manifest anti-Semitism also in the left, in the extremes like the Democratic Socialists of America, a party that actually sat there and here in New York was proud to call people to shout out things like, Palestine will be free from the river to the sea in our own Times Square. I saw it with my own eyes.
What do you think is the way to responsibly talk about the fate of the Palestinian people, who, by the way, are not Hamas? Mm-hmm. What's the way to talk about that in a responsible way?
Look, I actually support the concept of free Palestine. I just think it's free it from Hamas. I think that you look at what's happening in Gaza, and you have to remember that in 2005, Israel did something, frankly, unbelievable on the world stage, something that was, not necessarily even as popular as it needed to be within its own country. Israel in 2005 made the decision to unilaterally withdraw from Gaza. So we talk about the occupation. Israel withdrew its troops. It actually had soldiers go and rip Jewish families out of their settlements and took them out with an idea that let's see what happens. Maybe if we just take a step back and let Palestinians build their own government, maybe there will be peace. And it was a time of optimism. In 2006, my father went and actually got Ehud Olmert and Mahmoud Abbas to meet with King Abdullah and Petra Jordan, hoping that we would see peace. So what are we supposed to think? I don't know. But one thing I do know is we have to cut the head off Hamas. We have to end Hamas, and then we can see, are there other solutions? The quartet failed to achieve it when the US and the European Union tried to build something that could last, a peaceful population that would focus its dollars and energy into building a civilization. That didn't happen. We're going to have to try again.
All right. Elisha Wiesel, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.